Hi and welcome to lesson 17.3. Today we're going to look at how we can move text around a point so that it's not blocking lines or blocking data. And then we're really going to pull together everything we've learnt so far, and we're going to create 4 maps in one to show the seasonal distributions of dolphins within Montenegrin waters. Please remember to keep liking, subscribing and most importantly sharing these videos so that we can reach as many people as possible with these free lessons. Okay, thanks. Okay, so we've got all of our dolphin points on, we've got our cities and towns, and we've cropped those so that we have slightly less, and we only have the ones in the Eastern Adriatic. But what we may notice with our labels is that we've sort of got the labels all over the place, and particularly around Budva it's over the country line, in Bar it's actually over the data. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to right click on the East Adriatic places. We're going to go to properties, and then we're going to go to offset from point. We're going to select the top right corner, and we're going to leave the X value at 0 and change the Y value to -1, which will just raise it a bit higher. Click apply and then click OK. And now you can see they're all in a much better place. This has worked for our work in Montenegro, but depending on what you're doing, you might want to do something different. So it might be that if you had a coastline that was on the east of Italy, for example, you might want to move everything to the left-hand side and offset it like that. It's really up to you, and it will depend on the situation. Okay, so the next part of this lesson, we're going to look how we can really make use of this data. So we've not really looked at the attribute data, the dolphins yet. So right click on this and go to open attribute data. And what we can see is that we've got our ID field, which is called field 1, and then we've got a season. So we've got 4 different seasons obviously. And this is a good time probably to say that this is fictitious data, this isn't real data. It's got our species, they're all bottlenose dolphins. And then it's got our encounter for that date, and it's got our group size. Okay, so one thing we might want to look at is we might want to categorize our dolphins so we can look at where they are in different seasons. So we do that by going to symbology, then where it says single symbol, just click categorized. The value we're going to use is season obviously. And then we're going to click classify, and you'll see that we have 4 different seasons on here. Just get rid of the other section because we don't need it. So you can see in autumn we sort of have this big congregation around Bar. In spring we have further south. Summer we have quite an even split between Hersknevi Bay and around Bar, and then in winter we tend to be lower down by Ulsan. Again, so yeah, so we've got our 4 different sets of values, and it's a little bit difficult to see because we've got a bit of overlap. We can sort of vaguely distinguish it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a map that shows all 4 seasons differently. So if we just go to project and go to new print layout, you don't have to call it anything. I'm just going to call it seasons, and then TT because the Latin name is for bottlenose dolphin, and then I'm going to add an item and add map, and I'm going to left click, and eventually when I get around just past the 140 mark, it's going to give me a grid line for 1/4 of the page. The same is going to happen when I go down the page. I get a grid line and it begins to render the map. Now I'm just going to copy this map 3 more times. So copy, you can just click on it, do Control C and then Control V, and it'll give you a new map which you can just drag into the top right, a new map which you can drag into the bottom left, and then the bottom right. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we've got our 4 maps, just go to map 1, make sure that's selected, and we're going to start with summer. So turn the other layers off well, the other sub layers off. Select summer, and what we're going to do is we're going to come back to our layout view and click refresh, and we'll see that we've just been left with summer now. So what we're going to do is we're going to lock the map because we're happy with its position, and then item properties, we're going to go to lock layers, and importantly we're going to lock styles for layers. Okay, come back to our map view, and then we're going to, to our environment, and just after summer we're obviously going to select autumn. Come back to the paper view, hit refresh, and you'll see that all the other three maps have changed, but our summer one has remained the same. Okay, so we're just going to go to map 2, lock its position, then make sure map 2 is selected, lock its position, and then go to lock layers and lock styles for layers. And we're just going to do that a few more times, so we've got the winter and then the spring. So exactly the same setup. Oh, accidentally turn autumn back on. Select winter, come back to the layout, hit refresh. We're going to do the same, go to map 3, lock layers, lock layer, lock style for layer. Okay, and then we can do the final thing we're going to do is go to spring to make sure we've got each of them. Here we go, spring, refresh, and I mean we don't actually need to lock layers because we've got the rest of the same, but we might as well just because we're in the habit of it. So map 4, lock layers, lock style for layers. And you can see really quickly we now have a comparison. A bit difficult to read still, so we're going to add a legend. Just going to add our legend in the bottom left, but you can do it anywhere sensible really. Within legend, go to item properties, bring the scale bar down. We don't need all of this, so we're just going to turn auto update off. We're going to remove add places in the legend. We're going to remove the Eastern Adriatic, and we're going to remove the other category as well. And then I'm just going to change the title to Bottlenose Dolphins by season. Okay, once I've done that, I can just bring it down, and when I'm happy I can lock that too. I'm just going to bring it slightly up actually. I'm going to have my scale bar underneath. Add item, I'm just going to add a scale bar. As we said last time, every map we make needs to have every map we make needs to have a scale bar and a legend and a north arrow as a minimum. I'm going to make this 10 units because I want to have it as 20 kilometers. Just move this up slightly so there's room for it. It's always better to go to the absolute simplest, so I'm just going to go for line ticks up there. Really simple legend. And I'm going to fix both these now. I'm happy with them. Okay, and then the final thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a north arrow. And hopefully you can see now that we've got a really quite neat map. So we're very easy to compare the 4 seasons. We perhaps could have gone for better colours. In fact, what we're going to do is we're just going to rearrange the order of a legend. If item properties ever doesn't show and just remains grey, just right click and select item properties and it'll come up. So I want them in the order that they're displayed in the map, so I'm just going to use this to move this up. So I just select, I want summer first, so I can just move that up and then move it again. So I've got summer first, and then I've got autumn in the right place, but I want to move winter up as well, so it's in the right place on the legend. And you can see it's really easy to see. We've got summer, autumn, winter and spring, and you can see that because we've got our different labels, we've got our different country labels and our different city labels and town labels, we can easily make reference to it. So for example, we could say that in summer, then we've got dolphin presence in Herzegovina Bay and around Bar, whereas in winter it's closer to Olsen. So very quickly we've made a really powerful map. I mean, even with the teaching it's probably taken less than half an hour, so hopefully that's something that's really useful to you. It's not just applicable to dolphins, we could do this with anything, terrestrial animals as well. So yeah, go away, try that, and let me know how you get on.